Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to EFL Championship predictions. We are back with some massive championship games this week, Sophie, to predict. How are you?
I'm not great.
Why?
And you know why, with that massive grin on your face. Go on, break it to them.
Let's get into the points, Sophie, where I absolutely smashed you last week. 10-3, which means I am now 12 points clear. Sophie, overall, I am destroying you.
Yeah, you are. Do you know what? I'll chalk this one off. We go again.
Do you seriously think you could come back into it, bearing in mind there's less than 10 weeks of the championship to go?
No, I don't, Matthew.
Let's still carry on with the championship predictions. Let's see if Sophie can make up any ground. Guys, before we get into the predictions, you know what to do. Drop a like. Let's go for 1,500 likes. Your support on the championship predictions has been absolutely amazing. So make sure to drop a like. Make sure to subscribe as well. It's free to do. We're this close to 59,000 subscribers. So get involved with all of that. Share your championship predictions down below. And Sophie, let's get in to the predictions. We're going to start with a very gentle South Wales derby, Sophie. Swansea City versus Cardiff City.
Okay.
Over recent years, Swansea have really dominated this fixture.
Yeah.
Earlier this season, Cardiff City broke that trend by beating them. And if you look at the form coming into this one, I am all over Cardiff.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Cardiff are flying, and I feel like their fans have been pretty unhappy with us recently, not backing them enough. I'm going to make it up to you. The Cardiff City fans, we're on your side this time. Swansea, let's be honest, Sophie, Swansea have been very disappointing.
They have actually, yeah.
Even though they've changed the manager and they've tried a few different things, this season has been a real underwhelming one, and they're still not safe yet.
No, technically they're not, no.
I think they'll probably be okay.
Yes.
But they're certainly not safe yet. With it being a derby and Swansea being at home, it wouldn't entirely surprise me if this one flips the script and Swansea win. But the narrative coming into this is Cardiff are in better form, and I will go with that.
Yeah.
With it being a derby, I also think it could be low scoring and cagey. But Cardiff City, we're here for you. I'm going 1-0 to the Bluebirds.
Okay, I'm actually going to add another goal. I think Cardiff have looked very, very good recently, actually.
Very good. I mean, what about that win against Ipswich?
Yeah, I didn't see that happening, and I don't think some of their fans did as well, especially so late on. Yeah, just amazing, really. So, playoffs is on for them at the moment. I think they're going to back it up with another win. I'm going to say 2-0. That one Cardiff fan, you know who you are, you can have a week off this week.
Yeah, it does feel like Cardiff might have possibly timed their playoff run a little bit too late, but maybe not. Maybe not. If they keep winning, they'll keep closing the gap, so we will see. Cardiff City fans, like I say, this week we're on your side. Swansea fans, I think you've got to be realistic and say this is a massive game and the pressure is piling on them right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure there.
Let's go to St Andrews, Sophie, where it is Birmingham City versus Watford. Now, Birmingham City play in midweek as we record this, so we've got to factor that in. They take on Watford, Sophie, who I obviously got to see at Vicarage Road last week. I think they're a decent team, Sophie. They've got some decent players, but that sort of fragile mentality kind of took over. Coventry took their chance as well, and it's resulted in a change in management, which does happen very often at Watford. But I thought, to be fair, this one was fairly justified.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, and I was surprised it didn't happen like a couple of games ago. Just by Watford standards, I'm not a fan of getting rid of a manager when things aren't going your way. Yeah. But in Watford style, they have got rid of their manager, so there could be a new manager bounce now. Possibly.
Especially with Birmingham playing in midweek, Watford might be slightly better rested.
Yeah.
That said, sometimes you get a new manager bounce, sometimes you get a new manager
splat, as you said before.
You get a new manager splat. And with Birmingham being in dire straits, I'm going to go for them. You feel like Watford have not actually got that much to play for now. I'd be surprised if they went down. I'd be even more surprised if they got playoffs. They're probably going to finish mid-table. With that said, going to just go Birmingham 2-1.
Okay, I'm actually going to go for a draw, which I don't think would be a disaster for either team. Yeah, Watford, they're not in the playoff shout anymore, but I feel like they owe it to some of their fans to put in a couple good performances now and get a few more wins behind them. But yeah, I'm struggling to separate the two, hence why I've gone for the 1-1.
Yeah. Do you think Birmingham will stay up?
Yeah, I think they will.
They always do, don't they?
Yeah, they just have a way of doing it.
On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to Portman Road, where it's two of the promoted sides. It's Ipswich Town versus Sheffield Wednesday. a team fighting for top 2, a team fighting to try and avoid bottom 3. Sheffield Wednesday have been on a very good run, Sophie, and I've backed them like 4 or 5 weeks in a row up until they played Leeds, where I thought this would be too much for them.
Yeah,
I also think this one might be just a bit too much for them, but after that the fixtures get a bit kinder, whereas the Sheffield Wednesday possibly going on a run again. Ipswich, Sophie, have been a little bit faulty. Once again, it's hard to criticise them because they've been so good this season.
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about a winner's mentality, a winner doesn't do what they did at Cardiff.
No, and do you know what I hate as well? When like fans celebrate so early.
Yeah.
And some of the songs they were singing, it came back to haunt them as well.
It did come back to haunt them, and the Cardiff fans got the last laugh, and it did Leeds United a massive favour.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Ipswich have to win this game. I'll be as bold as to say if Ipswich don't win this, they don't get top 2. I really don't see how a team that can drop points at home and go 2 games without winning in this race can actually recover. So as much as I like Sheffield Wednesday, and I think they could possibly pinch a draw on this occasion, I'm just edging them to lose. I think Ipswich just get the win. They need to.
They need it.
Ipswich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Yeah, I was going to say Ipswich really need the win, but then equally so does Sheffield Wednesday.
They do.
It could be 2 teams really battling it out here, but I am going to lean towards Ipswich. I'm going to throw in another goal, I think 3-1 Ipswich, but I'm not going to say it's an easy game for them. I do think it's going to be 2 teams battling it out, but Ipswich have more quality. So 3-1.
Yeah, they have to win, Ipswich.
They do.
I still maintain that Sheffield Wednesday can stay up, and I'd like them to stay up because...
But it's not these fixtures that they're going to do it with.
I agree. As I say, they lost to Leeds, which I predicted.
Yeah.
I think they might lose this. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a draw, as I say, but then I think they bounce back again. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to the Riverside, where it is Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers. Middlesbrough, we should also mention, they're playing in midweek because they're the team playing Birmingham. They take on Blackburn Rovers, Sophie, who I did predict to draw 1-1 with Plymouth, and they did. McFadden got a red card.
Yeah, so I heard he got the red for taking a player out when he was the last man. Which actually sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
So,
it does
sounds
sound
like him.
It does. What it does mean is Blackburn haven't really escaped the danger, and they've handed a point to Plymouth. They come here and they need to get something because Blackburn aren't safe yet, and their run of form is very concerning. I'll just edge Middlesbrough. They've got the very slimmest of chances of making the playoffs. The reason I'm going for them is just the quality they've got over Blackburn. 2-1 Borough.
Oh, I'm going to say clean sheet, actually. I'm going to say 2-0 Borough. I think Fads will actually be a big miss for Blackburn because since he's came in, he's steadied things a lot. So the fact he's out for this one is why I think they might concede a couple of goals. Middlesbrough, they have got the quality there. I actually think Blackburn at times have got the quality because they're a good team, just in a really poor position at the moment. But for me, Middlesbrough win. And as I said, 2-0.
2-0 Middlesbrough, yeah. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to Home Park, where it is Plymouth Argyle versus Preston North End. Intriguing, very intriguing this one, because Plymouth have been better away than they had been this season, but it feels like the home form's tailed off where they've been really good. They now take on Preston, who are still in the playoff mix, but it's got to be said, a very damaging defeat at home to Stoke last week.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Are Stoke up to their old tricks that they did last season, where they ruin everyone's season that's in the playoff race?
They seem to be, yeah.
This is a big game for both. It feels like Preston need to win to make up the ground in the playoff race. Plymouth would possibly be okay with another draw, but it feels like they're very slowly churning out just enough where they're sort of just above the threshold, but if teams down there just keep getting better, Plymouth might find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think Plymouth need to make sure they don't lose, and I think they might get a draw. Preston are very good, but I think Plymouth with the home advantage might get a draw, so I'll go 2-2.
Okay, I'm actually going to go 1-1. I agree with what you've said. I think Preston need the win for their playoff chances. Plymouth need a win, or not to lose, I should say, because they're very, very close to that relegation zone. So I think with Plymouth setting up maybe to not lose, it's going to be quite hard for Preston to get anything more than a draw. So I'm going to sit on the fence and say 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, share your thoughts down below on that one. I like the matchup there. I think we both agree it could go either way.
Yes, yeah.
On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to a Yorkshire derby at the New York Stadium. It's Rotherham versus Huddersfield Town. Massive game for Huddersfield, Sophie. As we've said with Rotherham, they are done.
Yes.
They're a League One team now, and they're performing like a League Two team. Back-to-back 5-0 defeats.
Yeah, it's very, very poor.
It's so frustrating, isn't it, when you're kind of resigned to relegation so early, because you've got so many games to still face where you just finish, don't you?
Yeah, I know they've got like a couple of injuries to their back line, but they've just been looking so poor.
It's very demoralising. The only positive I can make for Rotherham is they can start preparations for League One life a bit earlier than the other teams that are going to go down, because we don't know who's joining them yet. But yeah, very bleak. They take on Huddersfield, who Rotherham could potentially pull down with them. Huddersfield are in a precarious situation. It feels like with Huddersfield, they remind me a bit of Birmingham, being in trouble, but just getting out of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you keep being in trouble every season, one season you might drop. And I've got to admit, I'm a little bit worried for Huddersfield, but I think this fixture has come at a good time for them. It feels like Rotherham is like a fuel station. You pull up, you get your 3 points and you carry on. Because even at home, against another team down there, I just don't see Rotherham doing it. Their confidence has got to be shot. That said, I think it will be a closer game, but Huddersfield have got to win, and I think they might just. Rotherham 1, Huddersfield 2.
Okay, I'm going to go 2-0 Huddersfield. Rotherham, they've not looked very good going forward in recent weeks at all. Not looked good at the back whatsoever. They are just conceding goals for fun at this point. And Huddersfield have got to be licking their lips at this fixture and think, do you know what? We could get the win here and also improve our goal difference a little bit like every other team has been doing. So yeah, for me, Huddersfield 2-0. I don't think they've got the quality to wipe the floor with them like 5-0 like we and Norwich did. But I feel like they will win and get a couple of goals and a clean sheet.
Yeah, it's just about getting the 3 points.
Exactly.
Which I think they will, and you think they will, to be honest. So, Huddersfield fans, share your thoughts. Are you nervous, or do you feel quite confident going to Rotherham? As for Rotherham fans, I mean,
what's there to say, really?
Yeah, there's not a lot to go off.
At least
right
the
now.
Season's nearly over.
Yeah, you're getting there, guys. On to the next one. It's Stoke City versus Norwich City. Norwich occupy 6th place, Sophie. As we said, they destroyed Rotherham 5-0. It's a difficult one because when you beat Rotherham, you don't want to read too much into it, but brutally efficient from Norwich.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't back them to win by a few more goals, actually, because they are very good going forward. So
they are. One thing I've certainly noticed with Norwich is their home form is really good. The away form is not as good. And going away to Stoke, Sophie, who got that win against Preston,
could do it again.
I think Norwich might drop some points. Stoke certainly still in trouble, but that win with McNally's last-minute goal,
great goal as well, by the way.
Fantastic finish.
Yeah, great goal.
Has really given them a boost, which makes me think I'm going to go for a draw. Norwich have a lot of quality, but with their form not being as good away and Stoke showing that bit more fight, I'm going to go down the middle, 1-1.
Okay, I thought you were going to go for the exact same as me. I'm going for a Desmond. I think there could be a couple of goals. As you said, Stoke just have this ability of just upsetting things up at the top. So really, Stoke could be doing us a couple of favours here. It would be great if Norwich dropped points, and I think this prediction is I'm half hoping Norwich drops some points.
Yeah.
But I can't see it happening, so I'm going for a Desmond. 2-2.
Yeah, I think as Coventry fans we'd be happy with Norwich drawing.
Yes.
But I think
I wouldn't be surprised if Norwich won, though. They're the favourites getting into this.
Yes, but we're giving Stoke something, so share your thoughts on that. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to the Stadium of Light, where it is Sunderland versus QPR. Both teams come into this on the back of a defeat. Sunderland on the back of loads of defeats, in fact. A really bad run from them. It must be said, though, that QPR have been very good recently, but then they lose 2-0 at home to Middlesbrough. Was that a blip, or maybe just a little reality check, or a little sort of lots of good results catching up with them eventually? Because the Championship is...
I think it's a bit of everything.
Yeah, it's hard to win every game. So I think we can let QPR off. What we must say though is if they lose this game, then it feels like they're sliding back into trouble. So I think they need to come here and get something. I feel like a draw wouldn't be a bad result. QPR fans will be thinking, why can't we go and win? Sunderland have lost loads of games in a row. The thing is with Sunderland, last week it was a bit better because they took on Southampton and they gave it a real go. Bellingham's goal was outrageous. What a strike from him.
Good.
I think Sunderland stopped their losing run. QPR bounced back from defeat last week, and I'm going to go for a draw. 1-1.
Okay, do you know what? I'm actually going to go towards QPR. I think it's going to be another defeat for Sunderland. I'm going to say a close game, but for me, QPR 2-1. Sunderland, they did look a little bit better at spells against Southampton, but they pulled it back to 2-2, and then they lost 4-2. So you're like, oh, what's wrong with you? And now you're coming up against QPR, who, bar their last result, have been in pretty good form. So I can see why you're saying a draw, but I am edging QPR. 2-1.
2-1 QPR. I was tempted.
Really?
But I don't know. I mean, how long is this run going to go on for Sunderland?
It'll come to an end at some point. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. On to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to the Hawthorns, where it is high-flying West Bromwich Albion taking on Bristol City. Now, both sides were victorious on the Sunday. West Brom, Sophie, they went behind to Huddersfield, but they came back in style. 4-1 winners.
Yeah, I know. We were checking the score. We're like, West Brom won 4-1. Where did that come from?
It's got to be said that Hull, Norwich and Coventry fans were hoping Huddersfield could do us a favour. But you've got to credit West Brom, Sophie, because they just keep looking like the fifth best team.
Yeah, they are.
They're not budging. They can't catch up with the top four, but they're not letting any of the 6th, 7th or 8th catch up with them.
Yeah.
And so long as they keep that little gap, they're just going to stay there.
Yes.
So they can't really afford to drop points in this one. And although Bristol City looked good against Swansea, and I did back them to win 1-0, I think they come here with not a lot to play for. They're the middle team now.
Yeah, and I see someone put out there saying if you're a Bristol City fan and you're not bored, like year after year, it's just mid-table, and they almost seem a little bit happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, if they did get something here, they might sort of claw themselves into the top half a bit, and then potentially could strive for a top 10 finish at the end of the season, which would be good. But with West Brom having a lot more to play for, I'm going to go for the Baggies. Yeah. 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0.
Whoa!
That's only one more goal. Maybe that is a little bit harsh on Bristol City, but I know they just got a win against Swansea, and do you know what? Fair play, that's 3 points, but you're coming up against West Brom here. It's a much, much tougher game. West Brom are at home as well. 3-0 for me.
Yeah, and let's be honest, although we think West Brom will win, Bristol City fans will be cheering on you because...
Yes, we will be rooting for you.
It's in our interest for West Brom to drop points, but I don't see them doing it.
I don't know, I don't see it.
On to the final game then, Sophie. It's Sunday's game, and what a matchup this is. Leeds United versus Millwall. Two very passionate fan bases.
Yeah.
And I remember Leeds United ran riot at the Den this season, Sophie. They beat them 3-0 away. This one's come at a very intriguing time because Leeds United are on a very good run. They keep winning, and they occupy second. But they take on Millwall, Sophie, who've been in the relegation battle, and under Harris, it's 10 points in 4 games. 3 wins and a draw. Is this where that good run comes to an end? It's not a disaster if Millwall lose this, let's be honest. They've done a lot of good, hard work before this that they can see it as a bit of a free hit. And I think it is. I've got to be honest, I've been very impressed by Millwall, but I've been very, very impressed by Leeds United. And I did back them at the start of the season to win the league. I still think they could do that. I'm going to go Leeds 2-0.
Oh, 2-0. I will give Millwall a goal, actually. I'm going to say 2-1, just because they've looked a lot better under Neil Harris, and they've been getting a few good results. But as you said, they're coming up against Leeds here, and I don't think they're expecting to get a win, possibly a draw. But for me, Leeds are just looking very, very good. Full focus on the top 2, which it has to be, and they're going to get the 3 points again. 2-1.
2-1, yeah. It's about the 3 points, isn't it?
That's the main thing at the end of the day.
They've already got the best goal difference.
Yes, yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. That wraps up the Championship predictions for another week. As we said, only 10 games this week because Coventry and Leicester's games have been called off because they're in FA Cup action. There is an international break coming up, unfortunately, now. We don't like that. But the videos will still keep coming out. We'll talk about the Championship promotion race, the Championship relegation battle. So stick around for more of that. Make sure you've dropped a like. Let's go for 1,500 likes. And as I say, it's free to subscribe. So make sure to subscribe so you see all of our videos. And we're this close to 59,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Go on. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.